Hello my dear fishing friends and welcome back to the channel. Your old mate is here with a fresh forecast and let me tell you, this is one you won't want to miss. We are diving deep into the conditions for New Zealand on the 27th of November 2025 and I've got some genuinely exciting news for you. This day is shaping up to be absolutely cracking, especially as we transition from spring into the early summer. The waters are warming, the fish are getting hungry, and based on what I've found, you might just experience some of the most aggressive bites of the season. So, grab your gear, settle in, and let's talk about why you should be dropping everything and heading out to the water. First up, let's talk about our beloved snapper. Friends, this is their time to shine. As the waters warm, these beauties are starting to move closer to shore and are surprisingly fearless in the shallows. They're actively feeding, building up condition for their pre-spawning migrations. Where to find them? Look for them in depths of 10 to 50 meters, especially along those sandy substrates with contour changes and around reefs, pinnacles and headlands. For tackle, a sturdy surf casting setup or a boat setup with light 30-pound fluorocarbon line is ideal. My go-to baits are oily pilchards or even fresh mussels sourced from the area. Don't forget the burley. It's absolutely essential to get them into a feeding frenzy. A little trick, sometimes downsizing your octopus-style hooks to 3/0 or 4/0 can tempt those slightly smaller but still very tasty spring pan-sized snapper. Next, for those who love a serious fight, the kingfish are getting active. While their prime season kicks off a bit later, late November is when you'll start seeing them in estuaries, chasing the whitebait and around those key structures. They're predatory, so they'll be found near reefs, pinnacles, headlands, and even man-made structures like wharves. Live baiting is your best bet for these powerful fish. Think jack mackerel, slimy mackerel, or kahawai. Drop those live baits down with a decent sinker, or slow troll them around known kingfish spots. If you're into jigging, heavy jigs can work, but for the bigger specimens, live bait is often the ticket. Look for any signs of workups, birds diving, dolphins, or kahawai splashing. That's where the kings will be shadowing the bait schools. Now, for our freshwater enthusiasts, the trout fishing in New Zealand's rivers and lakes will be exceptional. November signals the true beginning of summer weather with longer days, and the trout are truly aggressive. This is often considered one of the best months for targeting brown trout, with very good dry fly hatches, especially in the evening. Mayflies are on the menu, so don't be shy with your dry flies. You can expect to find trout actively feeding in riffles, runs, and along river edges where the insect activity is highest. For gear, a 5 or 6 weight fly rod with a good selection of dry flies and nymphs will serve you well. Spin fishing with small spinners or soft plastics can also be deadly in the rivers. Since pressure is still relatively light compared to peak summer, the fish will be less wary. Let's break down the conditions for November 27th, 2025. The weather forecast for New Zealand on this day is looking pretty good, my friends. We're expecting daytime temperatures around 23 degrees Celsius, with night temperatures dropping to around 16 degrees Celsius. There's virtually zero precipitation expected, which means clear skies for most of the country. Wind conditions will be somewhat breezy, averaging around 18 kilometers per hour, so be mindful of that when choosing your spots and setting up your drift. Atmospheric pressure should be relatively stable, which is always a good sign for active fish. Water temperatures across New Zealand are steadily rising as we head deeper into spring. In coastal areas like Tauranga, expect sea temperatures around 17.5 degrees Celsius. Even in cooler areas like Wellington, it's around 14 degrees Celsius. This warming trend is a major factor in fish activity, stimulating their metabolism and encouraging them to feed aggressively after the cooler winter months. Now, for the moon phase. On November 27th, 2025, we have a waxing crescent moon with about 42% illumination, and it's growing. The moon will be 6 to 9 days old. Popular fishing lore often suggests that waxing crescent phases, especially as they near the first quarter, can lead to increased fish activity, particularly during twilight hours. This means those early mornings and late afternoons could be extra productive. It's also a neap tide day, meaning lower tidal range, which can sometimes concentrate fish in certain areas, especially structure. Overall, the general biological activity for fish in New Zealand this time of year is high. It's late spring, almost summer. The fish are shaking off their winter sluggishness, actively feeding and preparing for spawning or simply enjoying the abundance of food as insect life proliferates in freshwater and baitfish schools migrate along the coast. So, my friends, considering all these factors, the warming waters, the good weather, the active feeding patterns, and the waxing crescent moon, in giving the overall fishing forecast for New Zealand on November 27th, 2025, a solid good to excellent, the fish will be active and less wary than in peak summer, offering fantastic opportunities. Just remember to adjust for those breezy conditions and focus on areas where baitfish or insect hatches are abundant. Well, that's it for today's forecast, my friends. I hope this helps you plan an epic trip. Remember, ni hvosta, ni cheshui, tight lines, everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this helpful, subscribe for more fishing wisdom, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And tell me in the comments below, what are you planning to target on the 27th of November? Have you had any incredible spring catches lately? Share your stories.